1908, a massive explosion over Siberia flattened 80 million trees. No crater, no meteorite fragments, just destruction. What if I told you that event might be connected to why you exist right now? And what if you're not the first intelligent being to walk this planet? Here's something that should keep you up at night. Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Modern humans, we've been around for maybe 300,000 years. That's 0.006% of Earth's lifespan. We're basically the last 5 minutes of a movie that's been playing all day. Now, our current industrial civilization is only about 200 years old. Think about that. Everything we consider advanced, computers, space travel, nuclear power, happened in a time span that's basically a rounding error in geological terms. If we vanished tomorrow, what would remain? Our cities would crumble within centuries. The pyramids are only 4,500 years old, and they're already heavily eroded. Fast forward 1 million years, and most of our concrete and steel would be unrecognizable rubble. 10 million years. Even Mount Rushmore would be a vague bump on a weathered cliff face. Our plastics might last longer, maybe 50 million years in the right conditions. But even those would eventually break down into microparticles, then molecules, then become just another layer of weird sediment that future geologists might scratch their heads at. So here's the question that keeps scientists up at night. How would we even know if someone else was here before us? This is called the Silurian Hypothesis, named after an alien race in Doctor Who, because scientists absolutely have a sense of humor. It was proposed in 2018 by 2 NASA scientists who asked a genuinely unsettling question. Could there have been an industrial civilization on Earth millions of years ago and we'd simply miss every trace of it? But that's just the warm-up. Because here's where it gets truly mind-bending. What if that civilization wasn't even from here? What if they brought life itself to this planet? What if you, me, your dog, that houseplant you keep forgetting to water? What if none of us are actually from Earth? Welcome to the Panspermia Hypothesis. Buckle up. This gets weird. Let's talk about a day in March 2017 that nobody paid enough attention to. Scientists analyzing meteorites that fell in Sri Lanka found something inside these space rocks that made them do a double take. Fossilized microorganisms, not Earth microorganisms. The structure was wrong. The biology was different. These things didn't match anything in our tree of life. Now, the scientific community had a collective meltdown over this. Half said it was contamination. The other half said, no, we were careful. The debate's still raging. But here's what we know for absolute certain. No debate. Life's building blocks survive in space. We've found amino acids, the fundamental components of proteins, inside meteorites dozens of times now. The Murchison meteorite that fell in Australia in 1969 contained over 90 different amino acids. Earth life uses about 20. Where did the other 70 come from? In 2020, Japanese spacecraft Hayabusa 2 brought back samples from asteroid Ryugu. Inside, more amino acids. These rocks have been floating in space for billions of years, subjected to cosmic radiation that should destroy any organic molecule. And yet there they are, intact, preserved, waiting. Then there's Venus. In September 2020, astronomers detected phosphine gas in Venus's atmosphere. On Earth, phosphine is only produced 2 ways, by life or by industrial processes. That's it. There's no known natural geological process that creates it. Venus is a hellscape. Surface temperature, 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmospheric pressure, like being 3,000 feet underwater. Sulfuric acid clouds. Yet something up there might be producing phosphine. Something alive. The idea that life came from space isn't new. Greek philosopher Anaxagoras proposed it 2,500 years ago. In the 1800s, scientists like Hermann von Helmholtz seriously considered it, but it was always dismissed as unscientific speculation. Then Francis Crick entered the chat. Yes, that Francis Crick. the guy who discovered DNA's double helix structure. Nobel Prize winner, one of the most respected scientists of the 20th century. In 1973, he published a paper proposing directed panspermia, the idea that an intelligent alien civilization deliberately seeded Earth with life. His reasoning was brutal in its logic. DNA is absurdly, impossibly complex. The information density is staggering. The error correction mechanisms are more sophisticated than anything humans have engineered. And it had to emerge from random chemical reactions in Earth's early oceans in maybe a few 100 million years. Crick looked at the math and said, "This doesn't work, not naturally, not that fast." His solution? An advanced civilization sent microorganisms to promising planets across the galaxy. Earth was one of the targets. We're not native, we're colonists. We just forgot where we came from. Let's talk about Earth's nasty habit of destroying evidence. This planet is really good at erasing its own past. 5 times in Earth's history, something killed almost everything. These are the big 5 mass extinctions, and they make apocalypse movies look tame. The Permian extinction, 250 million years ago, is called the Great Dying. It killed 96% of all marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrates. Imagine walking through a forest and 9 out of 10 trees are dead. 9 out of 10 animals are corpses. The few survivors huddle in small pockets, barely hanging on. What caused it? Probably massive volcanic eruptions in Siberia that lasted for thousands of years, pumping so much CO2 into the atmosphere that the oceans acidified and suffocated. The entire planet became a toxic wasteland. Show layers of rock formations. But here's the thing about extinctions. They're incredibly effective at destroying evidence of what came before. When 96% of species die, their fossils disappear, their ecosystems collapse. The geological record gets jumbled, compressed, and buried under new layers. And that's just biology. What about geology itself? Earth's crust recycles. Plate tectonics, the process that creates mountains and ocean trenches, is also a planetary-scale shredding machine. Oceanic crust gets pushed under continental crust in subduction zones, where it melts back into the mantle. The oldest ocean floor we have is only 200 million years old. Anything older is gone, melted, erased. Continental crust lasts longer, but even that gets eroded, buried, metamorphosed, and recycled. The oldest rocks on Earth's surface are about 4 billion years old, found in remote parts of Canada and Australia. But these are tiny fragments. Most of the early crust is just missing. Which brings us to one of the strangest discoveries in geology. In 1972, French scientists analyzing uranium from a mine in Oklo, Gabon, noticed something impossible. The uranium isotope ratios were wrong. Someone had already used this uranium in a nuclear reaction. Further investigation revealed the truth. 2 billion years ago, natural nuclear reactors operated at Oklo for hundreds of thousands of years. Underground water acted as a moderator. The geometry was perfect. The uranium concentration was just right. Waste products were contained. It was eerily efficient. The scientific consensus, completely natural. A 1 in a million geological coincidence, and that's probably true. But it's the kind of thing that makes you wonder. Because if you were an archaeologist from the year 2 billion AD studying our civilization, and you found a perfectly preserved nuclear reactor, you'd also say it was natural. You'd have to. What else could it be? Meet the tardigrade. This microscopic 8-legged creature, about 0.5 millimeter long, is the closest thing we have to proof that life can survive space travel. Tardigrades have been frozen in ice for 30 years. Thawed, walked away. They've survived temperatures of 458 degrees, almost absolute zero, and temperatures over 300 degrees. They've been exposed to cosmic radiation levels that would kill a human 1,000 times over. They've survived the vacuum of space for 10 days straight. In 2007, the European Space Agency sent tardigrades into orbit and exposed them directly to the vacuum and radiation of space. Most survived. In 2019, an Israeli spacecraft carrying tardigrades crashed on the moon. The tardigrades probably survived. They might still be there, dormant, waiting for water. Here's the disturbing question. Why? Why would a creature that lives in moss and pond water evolve mechanisms to survive in space? Natural selection only preserves traits that help survival and reproduction. Space isn't part of a tardigrade's environment on Earth. So why can they survive there? Unless space was part of their evolutionary history, unless their ancestors traveled between worlds, and these survival mechanisms are leftovers from that journey. Then there's the Cambrian explosion. 540 million years ago, life on Earth was boring. Single-celled bacteria, some algae, a few simple multicellular organisms that barely moved. The planet had been like this for billions of years. Then, in roughly 10 million years, which is nothing in evolutionary terms, complex life exploded onto the scene. Suddenly we have animals with eyes, shells, claws, predators, prey, ecosystems. The Burgess Shale fossils from this period show dozens of bizarre body plans, most of which went extinct because they were too weird even for evolution. Charles Darwin called this inexplicable. He wrote in Origin of Species that the Cambrian explosion was a major problem for his theory, because evolution is supposed to be gradual, species slowly changing over millions of years, not this sudden biological revolution. Modern scientists have proposed dozens of explanations. Maybe atmospheric oxygen increased. Maybe the first predators evolved and triggered an arms race. Maybe snowball Earth events melted and created new ecological niches. But there's another possibility. In 2018, a controversial paper suggested that octopuses, which appeared during this time, might have extraterrestrial origins. The authors pointed to cephalopod genetics as evidence. Let's talk about octopuses because they are weird. When scientists sequenced the octopus genome in 2015, they were shocked. Octopuses have 33,000 protein-coding genes. Humans have about 25,000. These genes don't match anything in the evolutionary tree. It's like they were inserted from somewhere else. 2/3 of an octopus's neurons are in its arms, not its brain. Each arm can independently solve problems, open jars, hunt prey, without asking the brain for permission. They can change color and texture in milliseconds, matching their surroundings with precision that requires processing visual information through their skin. Most bizarre? Octopuses can edit their own RNA on the fly to adapt to temperature changes and environmental stress. No other animal does this. RNA editing is supposed to be rare, carefully controlled. Octopuses do it constantly, rewriting their genetic instructions in real time. The paper suggested octopuses might have arrived as cryopreserved eggs on a comet during the Cambrian period, introducing entirely new genetic material to Earth's biosphere. Most scientists rejected this idea, but nobody's provided a better explanation for why octopuses are so alien. Let's play a thought experiment. Imagine an intelligent species evolved on Earth 200 million years ago during the Triassic period. They build a civilization. They have cities, technology, maybe even space travel. Then something, an asteroid, climate change, nuclear war, wipes them out. What would remain today? Their buildings, dust, their roads, buried under kilometers of sediment or subducted into the mantle. Their satellites, deorbited and burned up. Millions of years ago, their plastics, broken down into unrecognizable molecules. The only thing that might remain is a thin layer of unusual sediment, higher than normal concentrations of certain isotopes, weird ratios of industrial metals, patterns of extinction in the fossil record that don't match known catastrophes. And here's the scary part. We've found those anomalies. Geologists call them outliers, or unexplained phenomena. Uranium deposits in weird configurations, iridium layers that don't match asteroid impacts, extinction events with no clear cause. Most have natural explanations. Volcanism, asteroid impacts, plate tectonics. But some don't fit neatly into those categories. They're just strange. The Triassic period had some genuinely bizarre creatures. Before dinosaurs dominated, there were proto-mammals with complex social behaviors, marine reptiles like Thalattoarchon with brain structures suggesting problem-solving intelligence, flying reptiles that navigated using methods we still don't fully understand. Intelligence doesn't require humanoid form. Dolphins are intelligent. Crows solve multi-step puzzles. Elephants mourn their dead. Intelligence emerges wherever complex nervous systems interact with challenging environments. What if one of these extinct lineages developed civilization? Not human-style civilization with skyscrapers and smartphones, but something else. What if they engineered their environment biologically instead of technologically? What if they merged with their ecosystems so thoroughly that they left no artificial structures, only modified organisms? Their fossils would look natural. Their genetic engineering would appear as normal evolution. Their environmental changes would seem like climate fluctuations. We'd never know they existed. This connects to something called the Great Filter. It's a concept in astrobiology that tries to explain the Fermi paradox, why we haven't found alien civilizations despite billions of potentially habitable planets. The Great Filter theory suggests there's some barrier, some challenge, that prevents civilizations from spreading across the galaxy. Either we haven't reached it yet, which means something terrible awaits us, or we've already passed it, which means we're incredibly lucky survivors. What if the filter is self-destruction? What if every civilization eventually damages its planet so severely that it collapses? What if intelligence is common, but wisdom is rare? We're currently warming our planet faster than any natural process in the last 66 million years. We're in the middle of Earth's sixth mass extinction, the first caused by a single species. If our civilization collapsed tomorrow, what would future geologists find? A thin layer of plastic, concrete, and weird isotopes from nuclear tests. They'd call it the Anthropocene boundary layer. They might not recognize it as evidence of intelligence, just another strange geological event on a planet full of them. Maybe we're seeing our own future in Earth's past. Maybe the anomalies we can't explain are warnings from civilizations that didn't make it. So where does this leave us? What do we actually know versus what we're speculating about? Here are the facts. Organic molecules exist in space. They survive on asteroids and comets. They've reached Earth countless times throughout history. This isn't speculation. We have the meteorites. We've analyzed them. The chemistry is undeniable. Life's building blocks are cosmic. Whether life itself is cosmic remains an open question, but we're getting closer to an answer. NASA's Perseverance rover is collecting samples from Mars right now. These samples will be returned to Earth in the 2030s. If we find evidence of life, past or present, and if that life shares genetic similarities with Earth life, panspermia becomes fact. We'll know that life traveled between planets. Europa, Jupiter's moon, has an ocean beneath its ice shell, twice the volume of all Earth's oceans combined. Enceladus, Saturn's moon, shoots geysers of water into space that contain organic molecules. These aren't hypothetical. We've seen them. NASA's Europa Clipper mission launches soon to investigate further. If we find life there, life that evolved completely independently from Earth, it means the universe is full of life. Intelligence becomes not a question of if, but when and where. And the Silurian hypothesis. That's harder to prove. You can't prove a negative. We can't definitively say no previous civilization existed because absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. But it teaches us something crucial. Our planet has a history we barely understand. We've explored less than 0.1% of the ocean floor. We've drilled only 12 kilometers into a crust that's up to 70 kilometers thick. Most of Earth's history is inaccessible, buried beyond our reach, or destroyed by geological processes. Here's what keeps me up at night. If we are the first intelligent species on Earth, we're incredibly cosmically lucky. But we're also alone in our responsibility. No one's coming to save us if we destroy this planet. No previous civilization left us a guide on how to survive. We're writing the manual in real time. But if we're not the first, if something else tried and failed before us, that's somehow more terrifying because it means intelligence doesn't guarantee survival. Being smart doesn't save you. Understanding physics and chemistry and biology doesn't prevent self-destruction. Yet it's also hopeful because it means intelligence can emerge after catastrophe. Life finds a way, even after apocalypse. Maybe we're the 7th try. Maybe we're the 100th. Maybe consciousness keeps emerging from this planet like a flower that refuses to stop blooming no matter how many times it gets cut down. Life might be a cosmic phenomenon, scattered across the universe like seeds on the wind, waiting for the right soil. Intelligence might be rarer, maybe much. Rarer, but not impossible, not unique. We're either the only ones asking these questions in Earth's entire 4.5 billion year history, or we're the latest in a long line of species who looked up at the stars and wondered where they came from, who looked at their own existence and felt that vertigo of not knowing whether they're native or foreign, local or cosmic, accident or design. Either way, that's extraordinary. The fact that matter can organize itself into something that wonders about its own origins, whether that happened once or 1,000 times, is perhaps the greatest mystery the universe has to offer. So here we are, possibly alone, possibly the latest chapter in a story that's been told before. Either way, we're conscious, we're asking questions, and we have this brief moment to figure out if we're the beginning of something lasting or just another geological layer waiting to be buried. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Are we alone in Earth's history? Or are we walking over the graves of civilizations we'll never know existed? And if this made you think, hit that subscribe button because we're diving deeper into these cosmic mysteries. Trust me, we're just getting started, just